All right. Well, it is 2:05, so I want to just be cognizant and respectful of everybody's time. So thank you so much for joining our discussion on, accelerating student achievement through STEM and career-connected learning. We have a fabulous team here from Sylacauga City, and our incredible Mandy Kramer is currently at the University of Alabama. I'm Mary from the state of Alabama, all these incredible people. I'm thrilled to have you joining us today. We are going to have a Q&A at the end, but feel free to also put Q&A in the chat, and we can get to that at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Michelle Eller to get us started.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. We are excited just to explain our journey and our process with Define Learning. Just to give you a little bit of information about the team that's here and our district as a whole. So I'm the superintendent. I've been here 2.5 years. I previously served in Chickasaw City Schools as assistant superintendent and was able to implement Define Learning there. And we were fortunate there to implement it right before the pandemic. So Define Learning actually helped carry us through all that time, and we saw the impact of that. So when I came to Sylacauga, I knew that that was something that we would definitely implement here as well. With me is Dr. Jacqueline Rivers. She is our instructional technology specialist for our school district. She is charged with really ensuring that STEM is implemented throughout our district, including the Define Learning, and works with teachers on creating lesson plans and instructional strategies. And she'll share a little bit too about her role and what that looks like with the implementation. And then 2 rock star teachers, one middle school math teacher, Mrs. Gay Coley, and she's going to talk about one of the projects that she did. And then Miss Rhonda Brewer, who was a phenomenal English teacher, and we allowed her to move to the library this year, but she is still supporting us in that role as well. And she's going to share the project that she did last year with her English class. And so it should be very informative for you. Okay. So just to give you a little background about Sylacauga City Schools, these are our demographics. We have approximately 2,042 students. You can see the breakdown there from our pre-K classes all the way to high school. And you can also see the breakdown of ethnicity with our students. What's not included on here is we are currently 70% free and reduced lunch. So that gives you a little snapshot of just the student population that we serve here in Sylacauga. So as you know, the governor's challenge of Strong Start, Strong Finish included computer science for Alabama across grade levels. It also included college and career readiness standards. So with that in mind, and coupled with our vision of equipping everyone for excellence, Define Learning was the tool that we chose to use because it meets all of these. It meets the governor's vision for Alabama, it meets our State Department's vision for college and career readiness, and it meets our vision for equipping everyone for excellence. And I think you'll hear that today with the individuals from our district.
So my role in this is to help teachers to be comfortable and to feel prepared to implement the projects. So when we introduced Define Learning, we went to the different schools and did faculty meetings just to introduce the program and the Define Learning platform to each school building. After that, all the teachers participated in a half-day training. We had a trainer come from Define Learning to work with us to make sure that our teachers were comfortable exploring the site, how to build a project, and then they actually got to participate in one of the projects as if they were a student. And I really think that that helped to secure the confidence that the teachers needed. They were able to see what it looked like from their perspective and then what it looked like as a student. And they were able to ask questions and to work out a lot of the kinks during that training so that they were comfortable when they got to their classroom to create projects. So during the first year of implementation, we asked our teachers to choose at least one project to incorporate in any of their classes. We just wanted them to get their feet wet with the projects. The second year and then this year, we have asked them to do two, at least one per semester. We have a few teachers that seem to really enjoy using the Defined Learning program, and they are doing more projects throughout the year. My role in this is to serve as a co-facilitator. So I'll work with the teachers. We brainstorm ideas, look at their course of study, try to figure out what they want to do, the interests of their students, and then we build a project together. I've also been able to go into several of the elementary classrooms and work with the teachers as a co-facilitator. We pull them into small groups. I walk around the room, help out with the students who may get stuck with things. I let the teacher be the lead and the expert in the content, and then I'm just helping with the actual platform and creating their projects. So that's been a fun role for me in this position. We do have some teachers that are using it as a whole group activity. Everybody in the group, they do it individually, they introduce it, and then the kids just go out and do it on their own. There's a lot of teachers that are allowing their students to work with a partner. One thing that we really like to focus on is student choice and student voice, and Defined Learning allows that. With every project that they provide, there's at least 3 products that the student can choose from. Most of the time, our teachers give them one that's required, and then they allow them to pick between the other 2 of which one they want the students want to create and to do. So for our elementary, these are the ones that our elementary teachers have implemented in their classrooms over the past couple of years. Our kindergarten did a scientist, so they were learning about being a scientist, and one of their standards was talking about the honeybee and the structures of the honeybee, so they chose that one. Our first grade teachers did fire safety, and at the end of their project, they actually brought in the local fire department to come to the school. The students were able to see the equipment in person. They were able to explore through the truck, talk to the firefighters, ask questions based on what they learned throughout their project. The zookeeper was another one that the first grade did, and I think they did that one in the second semester, and they actually visited the zoo as a field trip at the end of that project. Our second grade teachers did the candy shop owner. A lot of our school, before I finish this, a lot of our classroom, the grade levels do it as a grade level so that the teachers can plan and decide what they want to do and how they want to add to the project. So every grade level teacher did the same one. So our candy shop owner, they did it around Christmas time, and they allowed the kids to create Christmas candy as a part of this project. For our 3 through 5 school, the third grade teachers did the park design when they were learning about shapes, the triangles, the squares, and all that. And they were able to pull in their standards from the park design into how to implement and design the park for their students. And we were wanting to, we told the students that we were wanting to present this to our city council as if they were going to be presenting it to potentially have a new park designed for our community. So that really gave the students a lot of buy-in. The inventors was our 4th grade. And Native Americans, they 5th grade teachers already do a project on Native Americans. They've done it for years. So they were able to pull components of their PBL from the Defined Learning site to add to what they already created. A lot of our secondary teachers have PBLs already created, and they use the Defined Learning platform as a way to enhance what they've already created. So our middle school, I'm going to let Ms. Coley come in just a moment and talk about the Lots of Love PBL that she did. Our 6th grade teachers do earthquakes. That's part of their course of study. So she incorporated the community earthquake preparation. How would you prepare your community if an earthquake were to happen here? And then all of our career tech teachers use the career exploration as a way to showcase the different careers for their students as part of their curriculum. So I'm going to let Ms. Coley come and talk now about the one that she did with the Lots of Love.
The one that we did was really Tot Lot, and we decided to change the title to Lots of Love because our students realized that we looked out the window and we have a fenced in area with nothing in it. So we were talking about it one day, what was the fenced in area, and come to find out it was they were trying to fix a little playground up for our special needs children to have somewhere to play. And so we took the tot lot and turned in lots of love. So we decided, since we were in the standard in 7th grade math and it was doing the area and the circumference and all that, I wanted to put it in with my standards and not waste time. So what we did, the students even got involved with some of the PE coaches. They came down and they went out and they measured all the areas outside. And then once they measured it and we figured out how much space we had to work with, we came back in and the students got to break off in groups and they designed their own Lots of Love playground. So after they got through with the Lots of Love program, taking care of that, we went and talked with a special needs teacher. And so she came up and she did a question and answer session with them, so that we brought her into it. And then I think it was Miss Silicaga. She found out that we were doing it, and she has a sister that has special needs. So she got involved and she spoke to our class concerning that and how it was a great thing to help children. Well, what happened to this becoming the one semester project has ended up being 2 years. And it's because my 7th graders who started this wanted to finish it. So we arranged it 8th grade. I got them during a class where we could continue it. And so last year we got together and started writing letters and trying to get money for it. And as of this year, we've got several people who's, I think, wanting to fund it. And now we're in the process of getting pricing and hoping that eventually this project that just started out as a math project is really going to be a project that the children in our school will get and enjoy. But now the 9th graders want to make sure they finish it. So that's who we're going to try to finish it out with. So they've done it 7th, 8th, and 9th, but they got into it and they cared about it and they loved it. And I just couldn't pass it on to somebody else to finish it up. So that's what we've been doing with the Lots of Love project. It was to put math standards in it, and the kids do have a great variety of choice.
So that's just one of the activities that the middle school has been able to implement in their program, doing the PBLs with the Defined Learning. Like I said a minute ago, a lot of our teachers are using this as a platform to pull resources to build on what they already had. We do have a forensic science class at the high school, and she did one just recently where the criminalist forensic science, where she had them to do the entire project. They had to do the drawing of the potential criminal and do the math component to decide the footprints. I mean, she really went all out with it, and all of her students, she said that they all did a great job with it. And just hearing the conversations among the students, it was really neat to see their buy-in. It was something different for them, but they were really enthusiastic about it. So our business ed teacher, she uses the soft skills for her intro to business class. A lot of times it's hard to get through all of those skills in a short amount of time. So she allows them to do it at their own pace. And it just allows the students to be able to learn as much as they can possibly learn to be successful when they graduate. But Ms. Rhonda Brewer is going to come here in just a second, and she's going to explain how she pulled different components to create her project that she did last year.
Good afternoon. As Dr. Rivers and Dr. Eller said, my name is Rhonda Brewer. Last year, I taught 9th grade English at the high school. One thing I will say about the Defined Learning platform, one of the things that I really like about it is that while it gives the students guidelines for things that are required, it also gives them choice, and it allows them to work at their own pace. And when they have that ownership of these projects, they really buy into it more, and the products become greater than you could imagine they could be. And so that's one of the things that I would really like to stress, the fact that it's student-centered, the fact that the students are making the choices about their own path and their own education is one of the things that's really positive about this program. The project that I did was I was teaching the Odyssey. We were reading the Odyssey, and you have to have a good bit of background knowledge about Greek mythology and the gods and goddesses. So my students participated in a Greek mythology trading card project, and the project presented it as if they were designing these trading cards to be on sale at the book fair in the elementary schools. The other really wonderful component of the Defined Learning program is the connection to the real world. When they see the relevance and they can make that connection, again, the buy-in is just incredible. The students had guidelines, they had a timeline. There were opportunities for them to check in with me and for me to check in with them. But really, it was about them working at their own pace. Those students who finished early were able to go and help the ones who were maybe struggling and offer suggestions and advice. And the ones who were struggling really benefited from that peer-to-peer instruction. So the classes really enjoyed it. We sort of made it a competition, and, whichever group had the best trading cards as voted on by the teachers, they got a sort of a surprise. But again, the student-led experience, the fact that the students had ownership of their project, they set the pace, and the connection to the real world are some of the strongest points about the Defined Learning platform that I have found. Thank you.
So I'm going to build off of what she just said. I forgot to mention that, so I'm very thankful that she did. Every component, every project that Defined Learning has includes a career component to it. There's always a career connection. So even from the elementary, the kindergarten, PBLs, there's a career component to this. And I think that, like she said, that does make a lot more buy-in for the students. They are interested to see what can they do with this. Why is this important to them? So I think that's a great connection that Defined Learning has incorporated with their program. So our next steps, we're going to continue to provide professional development to incorporate more components into the units of study. We would like to see more cross-curricular projects. For the elementary, the upper elementary, and the middle school, it seems to be a little bit more doable. We're working with the high school to figure out how we can best do that because of their schedules a little bit different. But we want to see English departments and science departments or English and history working together on the same project. We've looked into using the new STEM program that's available through Defined Learning for our computer science. And then in our K2 or K5 schools, we're trying to beef up our STEM activities. So we're going to use that component for those areas. Defined Learning partnered with our AMSTI group last year during summer school to provide enrichment for students who were in summer school. So we're going to continue with that, hopefully this next summer as well. And then our engineering is another area that we're going to look at introducing for our K-8 and then to strengthen it in our 9th through 12th grade classes. And then also to strengthen the career introduction components for our K-5 schools. So these are things that we are already doing. We just want to strengthen them using this platform for the next years. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if there are any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Rivers, Dr. Eller, and team. Your journey is so amazing. Your story is so amazing. It's incredible to hear all the student engagement and student voice and choice and what you guys have done so far for the students in Sylacauga City. It's just incredible. So kudos to you. You're a great partner. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Mandy Kramer to share her screen and sort of highlight her story with Defined Learning. And then I'll end with a little brief demo and we'll take some questions.
All right, Mary, I'm sorry, but I think you're going to have to share the slide deck I sent you if you're willing to.
Yep, I sure can.
My settings will not allow me to do that right now. Hi, everyone. I'm so thankful and grateful to be asked to be here with these dynamic leaders. I am Dr. Amanda Kramer, and I currently serve as a clinical assistant professor at the University of Alabama. And so I had to make sure to represent with Big Al there. That is myself and him. But before that, prior to August and stepping into this role, I served for the past 3 years at the State Department of Alabama in a STEM integration computer science role within AmSty. And so Mary just asked if I would just come share a little bit about some of the partnerships that we worked on to bring some of those very things that Jacqueline was talking about, and just talk a little bit about our experience with defined learning from a professional learning standpoint. So that's where we're going today.
All right.
All right. So our journey with defined learning began when Dr. Eller shared a little bit about the CS education law that went into effect, along with all of the different college and career readiness components. And so we were really looking at this from more of an elementary standpoint at first. And so I'm so thankful that my friends before me were middle school and high school, because I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of elementary examples in here. But we really specifically targeted our K-5 teachers. And what we were really looking for is an authentic, integrated component to support that computer science education law that was going into effect, that really called for computer science and computational thinking to be integrated into the elementary classroom. And so we started searching to see what was out there, and in the process stumbled upon Defined Learning. And so we had several conversations with them before we embarked on a partnership to pilot their computer science units within Alabama classrooms. And so you can kind of see here a pilot that we walked through beginning last November, and it took place over the course of that school year and ended in April. But what we did was we targeted some specific school districts in North Alabama as well as Central Alabama, and we specifically brought in some STEM educators that were tasked to support their schools in that computer science component. And so they agreed to pilot the computer science units in their classroom. And part of that agreement was that they attended high quality professional learning in a virtual setting provided by Defined Learning. And so you can see there on the right-hand side, every month we targeted and focused in on a different unit. And so over the course of our series of professional learning with these educators, they were not only equipped and exposed to all of the different units within that platform, but they had workshop time within that pilot to be able to problem solve, plan, collaborate in a digital format. But then also with our North Alabama teachers, we were simultaneously investing in them through a STEM PL their community of practice. And so this became a critical component of that, a part of that planning with that community of practice. And so it really evolved into this beautiful partnership of professional learning, of really equipping our teachers with self-efficacy and confidence to go forth and facilitate these types of learning experiences. What we loved about Defined Learning was that it was authentic, it was integrated, and it not only at the elementary level accomplished those computer science standards and those digital literacy standards, but it also hit on literacy standards, math standards, science standards in the process of doing that. And so I'm a former elementary teacher, and so we know we got to work smarter, not harder, especially with all of the time constraints that are out there. And so Defined Learning really allowed these elementary teachers to see how we could engage students in high quality, authentic problem-based learning, but also embed all of these literacy standards, all of these math standards within a project. And so we had approximately 20 teachers that were engaged in this pilot. And so I just pulled out a snapshot of some of the pieces of the products, the work samples they shared with us. So we did a pre and a post survey, just asking teachers about their comfort levels, different things like that. And this is a snapshot quote from a teacher that they provided us at the end of the unit after going through the professional learning, after facilitating the unit. This is a direct quote from a teacher, and they shared that this platform was very well written. It was very organized, very teacher friendly to find what you need and where things are located. And they shared that it was really a wonderful tool for teachers to utilize, that the lessons, the activities were really engaging for learners, but it also supported them in being able to individualize instruction to meet meet the needs of each learner. And you heard some of the educators before me talk about student voice and choice and how that plays into this, right? And so Defined Learning has really done a great job of providing an outline, a place for teachers to go to pull from. But one of the coolest things we saw within this pilot was that teachers saw how they could take it and adapt it to make it work for the needs of their classrooms, their specific classrooms, their specific needs. And so two of our third through fifth grade teachers chose to do the food truck entrepreneur project. And they took two very different approaches. One targeted and really focused in on the community with which the students lived within, and this kind of framed the problem within the community not having a lot of food options. And so the project took off from there, whereas another teacher really focused in on, there was a lot of food options, but we're going to bring in a history element to this. So we're going to study different cultures because we need a variety of options within our community. And so you can see how just in those two simple projects, the teachers took it and ran with it and were able to connect it to standards that they were already going to want to address in other content areas. And then on the right-hand side, you see a K2 example. This is a reptile house construction in the K2 world where the students were studying different habitats of animals and tasked to create a zoo habitat for a reptile. And so a really cool thing that this classroom teacher did was she brought in a 3D printer to actually allow the students to design a reptile to then be a part of that habitat that they designed. And so just small ways, it gives teachers a starting point to then take and make it their own and really run with it to the level they want to. Mary, if you'll go on to the next screen, the last thing we did this summer, and Jacqueline talked a little bit about this, but Defined Learning was wonderful to partner with our Alabama Department of Education and offer their platform free to every single K-12 teacher in the state from May through the middle of August. And so what we were really focusing on with that integrated PBL was targeting our summer literacy and math camps. We were having districts coming to us saying, you know, we really want to provide some authentic integrated STEM experiences during these camps in the summer. And so Defined Learning was willing to partner with us to try it out, to see, you know, how might this resource be beneficial within our summer camps, summer literacy and math camps. And so we are very thankful to Defined Learning for their investment in our state and their willingness to work with us. If nothing else, I know I'm no longer at the department, but I hope that you see how willing Defined Learning is to work alongside your district to really support you in meeting the needs of your teachers and your learners. And so I can't say enough great things about the professional learning, and just that the platform itself is extremely teacher friendly. And so I know from a state level, we're always looking for how can we support our teachers in being able to facilitate these high quality experiences. And so Defined Learning has done just that in providing a very solid platform that any teacher, regardless of where they're starting with PBL and in these integrated experiences, can take it and run with it. So that is a little bit of my story, and I hope that that was beneficial for you to hear.
Thank you, Dr. Kramer. So appreciate all of your thoughts and, you know, stories. I'd love to see those smiling faces, and I'd like to hear how the two different educators, right, had a completely different approach to, you know, what they were doing and what they were thinking there. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Just logged me out real quick. Hold on. And I'm going to just highlight quickly who we are and what we do. You've heard a little bit from, you know, Sylacauga City and their story and how they're utilizing our platforms. So I'm going to go in and share my screen and show you Defined Learning and Defined Careers briefly. And I do have demo access for people as well. Can you guys see my screen okay, I'm assuming? So here we are looking at Defined Learning. So this is our K through 12 online library of performance tasks or PBL units, deeper learning opportunities. Everyone calls them a little something different, that are delivered to the students through the lens of a career. So they're tied to your state standards, and really is that place where we're asking students to apply what they're learning from their classrooms to real world authentic situations. So you can see our course library up top. I'm going to do my quickest demo I can, but you can see it's all tied to core content. ELA is really woven into everything we do, as is ELA in our life, right? They have to be able to read, write, speak, listen. I'm going to start in middle school and go down, and then show you a high school defined careers task. But I clicked on science. You'll see it is grade banded. Here's all the different units of study. I'm going to go to middle school life science. So when you heard the educators from Sylacauga talking about food truck, or all of the different PBL units, I mean, the stories of the Tot Lot was amazing. This is where the content is coming from, right? So those are those PBL units they're referring to. I went to middle school life science, and you'll see the unit outline here of middle school life science. You'll see the different topics over on the right. So all the most commonly used units across the United States, and, all tied to the Alabama standards. So am I teaching molecules to systems? Are they going to step into the lens of being an app developer, an otolaryngologist, a botanist? Hundreds of different careers highlighted here. I'm going to take you into a marine biologist and just show you kind of what that looks like. You'll always see a great auditory visual piece up top. They're going to get a little introduction on the task they're embarking on. I won't play all the videos for you, but just to give you an idea.
A large coastal aquarium is interested in creating a new exhibit. This exhibit will highlight the many adaptations that marine creatures have that enable them to survive within their habitat.
So a little introduction. They'll always get that real world connection next, that video next. We talked a lot about connecting it to the real world, making it relevant for the students and engaging them that way. This video, whether they're in kindergarten or 12, you'll always see a real world connection video answering that question. Why do I have to learn this? How is this relevant to me? And then throughout all the stages in the units, they'll have opportunities to check in, reflect. A lot of educators use this one as more of an exit slip there. And then no matter if they're in kindergarten or grade 12, again, everything we do is tied to that UBD framework. So that understanding by design framework. They'll always get a goal, a role, an audience, and a situation, and then asked to produce those real world products based on the goal and role.
Your goal is to design an exhibit that will educate visitors about the adaptations of marine creatures in a particular ocean or coastline habitat. You are a marine biologist who works for a large aquarium. You and your team have been asked to design a new interactive exhibit that will highlight marine creatures from a particular habitat and their adaptations.
So they'll learn a little bit more about their audience or situation. I love how Sylacauga is bringing in local businesses or community members to be that audience. They're going to begin research, right? Spend the bulk of their time doing research, going through that product creation phase. Open-ended questions for them to keep in mind as they begin. Helpful vocabulary. This is going to be tied more to that science content. Research resources. This is taking them outside of defined learning to all these vetted articles for them to begin their research. And then as Sylacauga City was mentioning, and Dr. Kramer was mentioning, we'll always see a product menu. So you'll see 2 to 3 products to choose from. I love how Sylacauga, the educators seem to choose one that everyone's going to do, right? You're working on certain standards, checking for that knowledge transfer, but maybe students have a choice to choose the other one. So in this case, they have a pictures display, they have a newsletter option, or a podcast. They'll get criteria for all 3, and then they can work away. So everything can be customized as well up top there. You'll see everything summed up in text below. I won't walk through all of this, but there are 4-point standards-based rubrics there for the educators. You'll see their check-ins, implementation strategies, other resources, cueing the educators, what they might need, other links. You'll see your standards generate as well. And then you can easily share this in Google Classroom, any LMS. We roster through Clever, ClassLink, all of the common ways to do that. So that was a middle school science. I'm going to quickly show you an elementary math. Lots of great math content with that ELA woven throughout. Here's grade 4 or 5 math. again, what am I teaching, right? I'm going to maybe look at geometry. So they could be a mini golf designer, a classroom designer, rain barrel manufacturer, a kite designer, lots of different options here. This is mini golf designer. Again, I'm not going to play everything for you, but they will get a little introduction about, you know, mini golf course designer and what this
Miniature
is.
golf has been a favorite pastime for years. From toddlers to senior citizens, miniature golf has something for everyone.
So they'll get a little introduction, right? Real world connection video next. And then those check-in questions, you know, what type of math concepts are used? What is a scale? So they'll work through that in those videos. Then they'll work through the goal role audience situation.
Your goal is to design a fun and challenging mini golf course for all ages to enjoy. Your role is a mini golf course designer, and your role is to create a new course that will be a part of a campground. Your audience will be the campground owner, as well as the people who you want.
So they'll learn a little bit more context in their situation, then they'll check in, right? What's the problem we're trying to solve? How might we try to solve this? Begin their research, helpful vocabulary. This is a K-5 task, I think a 4-5 task specifically. Now, our nonfiction reading, writing opportunities here for their research are, you know, we call them constructed responses. You can download them, print them, it can be read to them. So they're going to work through that and then answer a journal prompt. You know, what makes a mini golf course challenging? And then the product choice here is actually whole sketches or actually building that into a 3D model or like Dr. Kramer said, maybe even a 3D printer, right? So then everything is then summed up in text below. And then lastly, I just want to show you the computer science and STEM, which I know is very top of mind in the state of Alabama here. There's in computer science and STEM, you get tons of content. You get a computer science course, a STEM and society course highlighting UN sustainability goals, an engineering course, as well as a STEAM course. So lots of different projects there. I'm going to just not leave the little ones out here and do K through 2 computer science, right? So maybe I'm looking at, you know, data and analysis, right? I'm going to click on ice cream store. How engaging is this for the K2 students, right? So they're going to work through, again, your introduction, an owner of that ice cream store, real world connection, their check-ins. And
in this task, you are the owner of an ice cream store. You will create ice cream desserts to serve to your customers. Your role is that you are the owner of a new ice cream store. Your audience is the children and families in your neighborhood. You want them to come to your ice cream store and buy your ice cream. And here's your situation.
They get their context here, begin their research, some helpful vocabulary there for the students, that constructed response that they'll read or have read to them. Here, they're even given a sentence frame with their prompt. And then the product choice here is creating a survey, right? Asking at least 10 people what their favorite ice cream flavor is, a menu, or an infographic. So again, the product choice here, you'll see 3 different products to choose from. So that's kind of 3 different PBLs. We had mentioned defined careers and in Sylacauga City for career exploration, and even it sounds like in some of the CTE work they're doing. I want to just highlight the different courses. You know, you can search by cluster and pathway. You can, I know Dr. Rivers mentioned the soft skills. So let's just say I'm looking for health science. I can filter to all the different health science courses. We do offer a 3-pronged survey where we're going to triangulate their study preferences, work values, and interests, and then the students are going to explore the different courses based on, you know, that interests or their survey results. So this is what one of the courses looks like. This is physical therapist aid, and depending on their post-secondary plans, is there something there's something for everyone, right? Whether they're going right into a career or 1 or 2 year program or all the way to college and grad school. There's hundreds of courses on here. They'll learn about the cluster, learn about the pathway, watch a video, respond to some questions. And where the PBL or the day in the life of, if you will, comes in again is in lesson 3, where they will work through a goal role audience situation here.
Who will be going home from the rehabilitation facility to be cared for by his family. You are a physical therapist aide, helping a physical therapist in a rehabilitation facility. As your boss, she has asked you to demonstrate 3 exercises that a senior citizen patient can do at home.
They will, even in defined careers, work through that goal, role, audience, situation. Here's the text version there. Here you'll always see vocabulary that's going to be tied to the actual career instead of, more of the content. Research resources, taking them outside of defined careers to help their research and their product creation. And here, 2 product choices, online demonstration of exercises or graphic instructions for the caregiver. So 2 different product choices there. There's so much more I can show you in defined careers. There's virtual internships for every clusters. There's ways to look for universities or boot camps or trade programs, link with a Common App, etc. And then everything is actually tied into student portfolios where you can aggregate amazing data and measure and assess student growth over time. So I wanted to pause here for a minute and just take any questions. I also am going to share, I have demo access for people if they would like to try it out for, for some time as well. So I'm going to leave that up there, but I would, love to take any questions, comments, feedback. There's my name and phone number with that demo access. And I just really want to thank Sylacauga City for all of their incredible work, and for Dr. Kramer and her incredible work that she continues to do and inspire all of us. But I'll stop and pause for questions, comments, feedback, any sharing people want to do.
Hey, Ms. Mary.
Yes.
You did say we're going to get a copy of this because it's getting recorded.
Yes, sir. I will follow up with the recording.
Thank you, because I think there's a lot of great information in here. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. I will share that with everybody. Okay, well, thanks. Oh, do you want to say something, Dr. Eller?
Yeah, I know y'all might have questions about funding since we know that Esther is leaving us. For several years, we've used the Alabama Middle School Computer Programming Grant to fund this. So that's a great grant resource to use that is available every single year. There's also the College and Career Readiness Grant that just went through. This is another avenue that you could use to fund it as well. So I know that was always the question as superintendent or even as curriculum director when I would come back and say, how am I going to fund this?
Right.
I really want it. Both of those grants are good resources to use because they align with this. You can also use career tech funds
money. Yeah.
Because everything aligns to careers. And we know that's important with CT World. So just wanted to mention that.
Maurice, did you write down those grants?
Alabama Middle School, the Career and Readiness Grant, and then also, what was the last one she said? Career Tech as well. Use Career Tech funding.
Yes. I know your finance people were asking us, me, right? And you. So
yes, they are.
There's some great revenue sources there.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Janie Brennan with Gaston City. My federal programs director put me on here. I had no idea what I was getting onto, but I'm glad I did. And so I'm with Gaston City, and I'm the community education coordinator and federal programs. So I have a quick question, and this may have been answered, and I just don't know because I'm new to the platform. But when you purchase the programming, is that district? Are you purchasing X amount of slots, or are you just buying the whole program? Do you receive everything within, what is on your?
Yeah, and we can talk at a different time too, but I'll tell you in general, it's a per building price for defined learning and defined careers. So we sell that as like a bundle. And you can also, if you were going district wide, that's where you get more discounts and whatnot.
Okay.
With Sylacauga City, they've always done a 3 or 5 year partnership. That's where you get more, if this is the way your teaching and learning is going, which, the state's calling for, that's where you get greater discounts as well. So it's a per building price, or we can do it work on a per district. And we can, yeah, great question.
Oh. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. Any other questions, feedback, comments? Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. We appreciate everything you guys do for the students in Alabama, and everyone is always so nice in Alabama. So it's always a joy to work with all of you. So take care and have a great afternoon, everybody.